Hard to read, the wispy novice.
This is not a prick.
Is she a sphinx or simply stupid?
All right, off you go, please. Give me the phone.
Artfully dishevelled today. The tweedy tramp coat is an abhorrence. It seems to say, I'm just like you. But clearly she's not. A fey person, I suspect. Fey.
To the show, everybody.
Welcome back.
Oh, boy.
I'm excited to talk about this one.
You have been waiting a long time.
I've been waiting a long time to cover this movie.
You have, patiently. Thank you for waiting.
I think that the time has come.
Indeed. Well, everybody out there listening, my name's Pete.
And I'm Scott.
And these
are the movies that made us gay.
Yay. Oh, boy.
I love this movie. This movie is out of control, underrated camp classic. But before we get too into it, I want to introduce our returning guest, Paul from That Age Well.
Hey, boys.
Welcome, Paul. Oh,
so
my goodness.
I knew that you would be a good fit for this episode, and this is not the type of movie that you would generally cover on your podcast.
That's true. This is later than we usually just the 80s and 90s. So this is definitely after that.
You've done some 2000s movies, but not a lot.
No, not a lot. Just a couple that when people request them, we'll go outside of our age ranges. I almost said our year ranges, but generally speaking, 80s and 90s is our bag.
So we watched Notes on a Scandal from 2006, directed by Richard Eyre. I'm never quite sure if it's Eyre. I mean,
it's spelled like Irie. Like,
Irie.
Get Irie, right?
I always said Eyre just because of Jane, but I suppose they're not related.
Jane Eyre, there you go. It is spelled like Jane Eyre. Oh, my goodness.
The only movie that
I'm just ready to get Rasta on
The only movie that I know of this director is that he did the Claire Danes failed Oscar buzz movie Stage Beauty. With her and Billy Crudup.
Thought of that movie in so long.
A movie that nobody besides me has thought of in a good 15 years.
You know who's thinking of it is the woman who was scorned that Billy Crudup left his wife.
That's right.
Because of this movie.
Yeah.
Who was that again?
Mary Louise Parker.
Justice for Mary Louise Parker.
Oh, goodness. Well, I mean, that's a whole other episode.
That's a gay man asking a question and a chorus of other gay men all yelling, Mary Louise Parker at the same time. How could you not know that?
Right. Oh, Billy Crudup. I mean, is Claire Danes that mesmerizing? I don't know.
Honestly, no.
Yeah,
how long? I mean, how long were they together?
I don't know how long they were together, and it's one thing that they broke up, but she was pregnant. Come on.
Yeah.
He could have waited.
That's just rude.
It's just rude is what it is. At any rate, again, this is an entirely different episode. Let's talk about Notes on a Scandal.
Ooh.
Okay.
This
Notes on a Scandal.
Movie.
This movie, and I mean, definitely have a past. This was a movie that I remember reading about, like, as it was coming out, fall of 2006, just because I follow Oscar blogs. Mm-hmm. And this was a movie that was very much on my radar. I was so excited when this came to the Wilma Theater in Missoula, Montana, winter of 2007. I saw this movie in a little shoebox theater that was connected to the Wilma. So there was like the big screen. This was on the small screen. And fully just folding chairs. It was just me and a bunch of matinee women. And I remember the audience losing their goddamn mind at the big Kate and Judy face-off. Like, people went fucking nuts.
Yes.
As they should have.
Yeah.
That's a good scene.
I saw this movie in the theaters as well. I was in Brooklyn at the time, and I was waiting tables, so I'd always work nights. I saw it on like a matinee in the middle of the week. So kind of like it was like me and the ladies, and let me tell you that when she slams Judi Dench into that hutch and the whole audience, you would have thought Gwyneth Paltrow's head was in a box. Be careful with Judi Dench.
Like, what would I have given to have just seen this movie at the West Hollywood Sunset Vive with just an audience full of gay men just cackling and hooting and hollering?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, I didn't see it in the theater, for one.
I think that I introduced you to this movie.
You did introduce me to this movie. Yeah, I feel like for me, I was just like peripherally aware of it, and I was just like, oh, what are just these two hags just like throwing each other around. Like, I don't know. It was something that didn't quite pique my interest. And then, although I should say I am pretty fascinated by, Mary Kay Letourneau and
we'll talk
Lily
about
Kulau, and that whole, like, just sad drama, which recently took a turn, didn't it?
She just recently died.
Yeah, Mary
They
Kay.
got a divorce after years of marriage, and then she died of cancer. Very sad.
Very sad.
Yeah.
So a tragic tale, which I had been obsessed with and following, but yeah, not
Well,
really.
I mean, I don't know how tragic. They got married and were happily married for years and had kids.
Yeah, but she died and she was like 50.
Yeah. But then they got divorced and then she died.
Yeah.
So,
It has a really bad ending, but maybe a nice middle.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe. But you introduced me to this movie, saw it. I mean, I don't know what to say. We're gonna have to talk about it. Because
it's one of those movies that I'm surprised doesn't have a bigger cult following behind it. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to cover it on our show, is because this is totally the brand of movie that we love. I think this movie sort of dips into the single white female subgenre of like female obsession, which us as gay men love. Just like Justice for Notes on a Scandal, this movie should be talked about more.
I think it fools people because people think of it as an Oscar movie. And
Yes,
it
right.
is. It's
Absolutely.
a great movie, but like there's so much camp and like it's like practically whatever happened to Baby Jane levels at the end, where they're just like hating each other.
Like, these are the types of roles that you could see Joan Crawford and Betty Davis
Absolutely.
playing in the early 60s.
Yeah.
but like we're saying, there's a lot going on. The score is out of control.
This out-of-control Philip
Like,
Glass
what?
score.
It's so dramatic. There's a swell with Judi Dench narrating, and her line is, "Lasagna tends to disagree with my bowels," and as the score, it's like swelling.
That is because she's walking up to this lunch that she got invited to, and at that moment, I was thinking, this music is instructing me that something big is about to happen. As a moviegoer, I know that what this kind of crescendo is leading up to, and then it's just, hi, I'm here for lunch.
Yeah. Hi,
And
lasagna
just-
gives me
and just-
diarrhea.
Lasagna tends to disagree with my bowels. I'll ask for a small portion.
And just this operatic thematic moment of, this is what a big deal to get this lunch invite for her.
Right. Well,
and
I
then
mean,
like
that's-
the
yeah.
swelling of the Philip Glass score.
Right.
It's just too much and I love it.
They do need to make a musical or an opera out of this.
Preferably an opera.
Yeah, like let's get like a Patti LuPone and Laura Benanti in these roles, and let's make it.
Oh my god!
And I feel like Florence Pugh, maybe
Sure.
in like, give her a good 10 more years and she would be really good as Sheba Hart.
Yeah.
She can play the Juno Temple role for now.
Yeah.
Juno Temple, and you saw Juno Temple play this character a lot at this time. Like, Notes on a Scandal, Atonement.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, we should kind of talk about the premise of this movie. It's pretty
Ripped from the headlines
Oh, yeah.
of a older teacher having an illicit affair with a
An
15-year-old.
underage
Is he
student.
15?
He is 15,
He's 15
canonically.
Yes, because this is based on a novel.
Yeah.
by
Which
Zoe Heller.
Yeah. Did you boys? So I didn't read the novel, but did you boys read the differences?
I've read the novel.
I read the
okay.
differences.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the main
The ending
differences.
is like the big
The
thing.
ending
right?
is the big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've read the book and I don't even remember the ending.
Okay. Well,
When we
we'll
get there,
then,
we'll
because-
remind you.
I know that the big difference between the script and the book is that the book is completely told from Barbara's point of view.
Yeah.
Like, you get no point of view of Sheba at all.
Sure.
Which, it's a movie. I feel like you have to open it up to Sheba's experience with this affair, so I'm fine with it. And also, the script was nominated for an Oscar. This is done
Okay.
by Patrick Marber, and I believe that he is the playwright of Closer.
Oh, yes.
He comes
that
from the
sounds right.
stage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, even, you're right. They do open it up to Sheba, but not much. It's pretty
Yeah.
focused on Barbara Covett.
So I will also.
Babs.
I love that name.
That's an amazing
that is
name.
That is going to be like my
Covet.
witness protection name. I'll go back and forth between Barbara or Sheba, but I kind of stand by that. This is one of my favorite roles by Judi Dench, an actress that we have not really talked a lot about on this podcast. We really haven't talked about her or Cate Blanchett a lot.
True. I mean, Barbara Covet plays this character. I mean, I don't know. Is it a trope, the predatory lesbian?
I think it
Lesbian.
is. I mean, if we're gonna, it is. It's a really fun portrayal, and it's
Right.
like it's not just that. Like she does a lot more with it. Like it's about like real loneliness and like isolation and friendlessness, and also a woman who just might kind of be mean, and so no one likes her.
Right.
Like she's just mean.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's a predatory lesbian. Like let's call it. Let's look at this with clear
Call it
eyes.
what it is.
Yeah. So, and I mean, again, we might get into it a little bit later, but I was reading in the trivia notes or whatever that there was a movie in the 80s with Talia Shire, something about windows, the window or something like that is very similar in scope.
Okay.
To the predatory lesbian trope. But, I think you're right. Barbara Covet is a school teacher. She's of a certain age, and she just fucking hates everybody. She just... She can't stand her colleagues, her students.
Not a single person on this world.
The library is always open with that.
Her
with that
sister.
narration.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody. She is just over them, over all of them, and all beneath her. And new teacher at the school is Cate Blanchett, Sheba.
And this is Sheba's first big teaching job, because Sheba sort of later in life, she's in probably her late 30s or early 40s, and she went back to school and she's trying to become an art teacher. Yeah, and it's like her first day at school.
Right, Sheba Hart, played by Cate Blanchett, and
Bathsheba. Were you saying that earlier this week?
well, that's her full name is Bathsheba. In the book, it is at least.
Yes, yeah, and that she's a biblical, like that name is in the Bible as like a figure of lust. Like people lust after Bathsheba.
Such an interesting choice. Is it 2 on the nose? I don't know.
Look,
Barbara
we're
Covet.
talking about someone whose name is Barb Covet. I think on the nose is what we're looking for here.
yeah, absolutely. So, at first, Barbara's, we get a lot of voiceover, and they're from Barbara's diary entries. And this
her
is
notes
where
on the scandal.
her notes on the scandal.
The titular
Absolutely.
notes on the scandal.
They said it.
Yeah.
And she's comments on Sheba, and that she's just not very nice things to say, just like she has about everybody else. But one of the early things early on is that she has to go in and break up a fight in Sheba's class, right? And the fight's between 2 boys, and when they ask them why they're fighting, one of the boys says that the other one was talking smack about Sheba.
Not
and
just
he calls her
talking
miss.
smack, saying he gave her one up the ass.
Yeah. And he's protecting her honor or whatever, and Judi Dench is all right, whatever, I don't give a shit.
Well, and also
Stop fighting.
before we observe that moment where they're playing soccer or football, as they call it in the UK, and he takes off his shirt and he sort of gives these eyes to Sheba when he does his goal.
Yeah.
So this is Stephen Connolly. I forget the years. 6th year, 5th year.
I think he's a
6th year.
sophomore.
He's
Played by Andrew
he's
Simpson.
15 at least, and it's one of those things that the actor that they got to play this character has a very pretty face, but he's playing 15. He's about 17 or 18.
Yeah, he's not.
They probably
much
got him
older.
over 18.
He
Yeah.
looks young.
So I hesitate to start fawning over this actor, but he's a very pretty face.
He does. And Cate Blanchett agrees with you, or I should say Sheba agrees with you. Cate Blanchett
Yes.
might think he's trash. I don't know, but Sheba definitely agrees with you.
I was reading that Nicholas Hoult got very far in this audition and was almost cast in this
That
role.
makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, definitely. We learned a new term from RuPaul very recently: Black Irish.
Oh, I have a funny story about the term Black Irish, actually.
Well, I mean, if we're not mistaken, it would appear that Stephen Connolly is what you would refer to as Black Irish.
Yes,
right?
dark haired with blue eyes, pale skin.
He's like Jennifer Connelly,
yeah.
There you go, like Jennifer
who's
Connelly.
also Black Irish.
Absolutely.
I had a really good friend in New York. She's Sri Lankan, and she saw an audition notice for a Black Irish character, and she was like, "Oh, I could kind of pass for that, like Black and Irish, like sure." And she went and she walked in. She was like, "This is the wrong place for me. I have made a horrible mistake."
That's amazing because it's not like a I mean, maybe it's an older phrase.
You just assume that it's a
cultural
Afro Irish, I guess.
Yeah.
But it means
Yeah.
it traditionally means somebody who's Irish that has very dark hair and dark eyebrows
and blue eyes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we get introduced to this character, this boy, and does Barbara right away? I mean, it's not initially clear. We start getting hints of this other friend of hers, the mysterious Jennifer.
Yes.
Jennifer Dodd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we hear about like this friend that she maybe got a little too handsy with. Metaphorically
Right.
speaking, she got too involved. She wanted a little control over Jennifer's life.
Hands on.
Yeah.
Right. And Jennifer, I think she was a teacher at the school and she's no longer teaching there, or she just, she's out of the picture.
Yeah.
Right. I love the introductory scene of the teachers meeting.
Oh yeah.
Where everybody's turning in these just some paperwork on how they feel like they can
Improvements that they've been thinking about
improve
over
their
the summer, and
department.
it's supposed to be a big report, and everybody hands theirs in, and Barbara just hands in a simple paragraph.
She worked very hard on it. You'll find it's quite complete and thorough. She refers to herself as a battle axe later in the movie, and that is
oh my god,
exactly what she is.
Yeah, that's about right.
oh my gosh.
Have any of us had sort of a teacher like this? I'm hesitant to say yes, just because I feel like even our hard-ass teachers weren't this bad.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard about teachers like this from my parents who went to Catholic school, and they were referring to like, the nuns that were like,
right.
I'll cut your hair off if you keep playing with it. Like that kind of shit.
I haven't had a teacher like this, but I've worked with people like this. Oof. I've had co-workers in other departments that I'm just like, do you remember the day that you lost your passion for this job?
Yeah.
Because
or your passion for life.
For life in general, yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to remember how Barbara and Sheba initially start. Is it because of the fight?
She kind of bails her. She helps bail her out with these boys with the fight, and she sort of issues out the punishments. She sort of gets down to the situation. She kind of helps her out, and Sheba just sort of, as a token of saying thank you, just invites her over to her house for dinner. And she knows that sort of the staff doesn't really like her, and she's sort of reaching out to Barbara just to be nice and to say thank you.
It's also, I think, worth mentioning, too, like, talked a lot about Barbara, but Sheba is, I don't say this meanly, but she's stupid, right? Like, she's kind of upper class and a little naive and not, like, it seems to be, like, a good mother and not a bad person, but, like, not street smart.
Right.
The type of woman that you could tell that she's always come from money, and she just probably on a whim, I'm going to become an art teacher and go to work at an inner city public. I don't know what the equivalent of public school is in the UK, but go to school and try to help out these disenfranchised kids. And that is a very tall order that she was probably not ready for.
Yeah. Everything I know about British school I learned from Hogwarts, so it's probably not very comprehensive.
Not at all.
Mine's either like this movie, Harry Potter, or like About a Boy.
Yeah. Sex Education on
or
Netflix.
Sex Education, and Sex Education.
That's wrong. That's totally wrong.
I don't think that's accurate.
No.
Or like Skins.
Yeah.
All right. So we are the authorities on the British school system. All right. Done. Well, it's a lunch date. It's not quite a dinner.
And Barbara goes out
invitation.
for her full old lady makeover.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
She gets her hair done.
I love what she says about getting a makeover. It's like it's important, but it's also important to not look like you put in the effort.
Yeah.
To put in the effort. I was like, ooh, that actually makes sense.
She gets her cute, grandma, Judi Dench I don't even know what you call that haircut.
How old is Judi Dench in this? Do we know? Because I'm like, I would because in my head, I think just because I became aware of Judi Dench when she was already in her 60s, like what I'm like,
Right.
she's been 80 for 85 years. I don't know how old she is, and so I'm like, she's got to be in her 70s. But I would believe she looks good. Like I would believe if you told me she was like 65.
Anywhere between like 60 and 80, you don't really know. And Judi Dench, you're right. She's also in that class of older British ladies that really didn't become household names until they were in their 60s.
Yeah.
Like it's like her and Helen Mirren.
Maggie Smith.
Yeah.
Maggie Smith, yeah.
She was 72.
Wow, she looks good.
She looks good. She looks decent. So she shows up to the Hart house
In full Philip Glass pageantry.
My entrance music, please.
Yes. And she's in like, this like governess like suit, it's like a, full like lady business suit kind of a thing, a little formal. She brings like a bouquet of flowers. Mm-hmm. And to her kind of, not dismay, but I guess dismay, what she finds out and what we, the audience, find out is that Sheba's husband is Bill Nighy. Yeah. He's like 25 years older than her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. So that's automatically like, okay, like what's going on here? She has a teenage daughter and she has a special needs, like 12-year-old son.
And she's not impressed, Barb. She is like, what the fuck is that? Like she was there for a good time.
Yeah.
She thought there was a connection. They were going to have a little one-on-one time, and she's not happy with the addition of all these new people, I don't think.
Right. And, the daughter comes downstairs, played by Juno Temple, and she's just in, like, sweatpants and a T-shirt. Yes. And she's just like, oh, hey, what's going on?
Why are you so dressed up?
Yeah.
So mean.
She's later smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
And she offers one to Barbara. I always think it's so interesting. Do you think that's just like a British thing?
Partially, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Just the teenage daughter smoking in the house, yeah.
But like I said, Juno Temple played this character type a lot around this time.
Right. But yeah, I love that she tells her, like, oh, are you going somewhere? You're all pushed up.
Yeah. And then after they
up,
eat, they have, like, I guess they have a family tradition where they all dance. And, like, first of all, you get the camera, like, tracking Cate Blanchett's body as Barbara stares at her with barely concealed lust. But then, like, you have Judi Dench being forced to dance, and it's like... she's so good
it's
at
so awkward.
Awkwardly dancing.
It's so great, though.
Well, also, not only do they make her awkwardly dance, but then Sheba, like, goes to answer the phone or something.
She's checking her text messages.
So now she's like, great, the only person that I know here's gone. I'm dancing with your special needs son, your weird old man husband who's probably still 10 years younger than her.
Yeah.
I do have to say, if I showed up to a dinner party at someone's home who I had just met, and I didn't know the family, and this is my like first outing with this person, and they started an after dinner dance party. I got the same face.
Yeah,
as Judi Dench.
I'm out.
Like, yeah.
Barb makes a lot of bad moves in this, but this is not one of them. She is right here.
Yeah, she says something about this like appalling ritual.
Yeah,
they
call it bourgeois or something like that.
Yes, she definitely says bourgeois. Oh my goodness.
Meanwhile, this house that she lives in is pretty beautiful.
Oh yeah,
and they mentioned that it was handed down to her from her father.
Yeah.
That she's had this house.
Right, I forgot about that. Yeah,
her father was a famous economic mathematician.
That's got to be a word.
He was really big in like economics.
Sure.
Yeah.
Economist.
Like an economist scientist. He perfected some term that had to do with inflation.
Right. All right.
Incredible that people can do that and make money off of it. I thought people were economists for the love of it, not for the money, but I guess I was wrong.
More of a hobby than anything.
I mean, it just sounds like a rich person's hobby, if you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love this next scene in Barbara's like craft cottage.
Yeah,
it's like a room for Sheba's own, and I just love this scene of Sheba sitting down and talking about her life and saying all of these very thoughtful things. But do they really add up to anything now? And I like that's how Kate plays that scene, is that Sheba just thinks that she is just like given out these like great pearls of wisdom, but then when you really like look at the dialogue, you're just like, huh, I don't even know if all of these lines even add up to anything. And that just really goes to Sheba's personality, that this is just her.
You could see Sheba, if she didn't get caught up in this web, like then starting a business like Goop. Like for a really vapid, rich white lady. Like that.
Totally.
Yeah, these rich white lady pearls of wisdom.
Yeah.
I do love her crafting cottage, though. I mean, if I had this like
Who doesn't want
this
a crafting
townhouse,
cottage?
Later,
great.
it's just turned into the fuck cottage.
Yes, it definitely turns into a fuck house. So living on the edge, Sheba.
Yeah.
When she fully engages this like relationship, like come on,
Like you
lady.
can't tell me she goes halfway on things. When she decides to do something, she does it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So do we immediately go to this like school assembly situation where Barbara finds out?
Yep.
Okay.
The school year is progressing, and it is the school assembly, and I love the school assembly. That this is like their Christmas pageant. Like as people that just went to American high schools, this is so foreign to us.
Yeah.
Of just this weird Christmas pageant. But I think stuff is just kind of like this in England. I remember seeing stuff in About a Boy like this. Just these very. I don't even know how to describe it.
Well, all I have to say is that we have a very lovely Patreon subscriber from the UK who goes by the name of Christine, who is listening to this episode, probably just
She needs to
shaking
write in,
her
actually.
head, just
Yeah.
going, "You idiot!
You don't know
Christine,
British
write
public
in.
schools, and you don't
You're
know
getting
British
it
pageants.
all wrong." Well, sorry, lady. They don't teach us anything here about other countries.
We're very, very stupid.
and sheltered.
So Barbara's noticing she's saving a seat for Sheba because
I love-
the school principal tries to sit down, and she's just like, "Oh no, I'm saving the seat for
I
Sheba."
love when she tells him that she's shaving the seat.
There will be a point in this movie where I'm like, is the 15-year-old boy the most mature character in the entire
Yeah.
film? I think he might be. He's close.
I think he might be. Yeah. Him and Gino Temple, at least, they should. So Sheba never shows up, so she gets tired of waiting. So
She goes and looks in the window of her office.
Yeah. Of like the classroom.
She goes down, and she sees the aftermath of.
Fellatio.
I mean, she was going down on him.
She sees this salacious aftermath.
Yeah.
I love it. And she's pretty disgusted, right?
So I kind of put myself in Barbara's shoes of that. If I was a teacher at a school and I
saw
witnessed
that.
it, like, what would I do? Like, would I just play like I never saw anything? Would you confront them? Would you just immediately go to the principal? And I don't even know what I would do if I saw something like this.
Oh, I'm such a narc. I would tell on you so fast.
You gotta
I'd be
tell.
I'd be like,
yeah.
Can you picture it? Like, have you met a 15-year-old recently? I cannot
Oh,
they're
no.
awful.
No, thank
wrap
you.
my head around
No.
being seduced or
gross.
attracted to a 15-year-old. That is like, even 18, once they're legal, it's kind of pushing it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
super interested.
But, we were just watching Little Darlings about a month ago,
Ooh.
and Matt Dillon in that movie was about 15, and it's one of those things where you're like, oh, Matt Dillon can get it in this movie, and then you Google his age, and
you're
you
like, oh,
just
never
feel,
mind.
You just feel gross.
Forever
I'm just
unclean.
like, wow.
Never
I
mind.
thought like 15-year-old Matt Dillon was hot, and then you just feel like icky.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. It's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, you're absolutely right. 15-year-old teenage boys, no.
Yeah.
No, they're awful.
And this actor, Andrew Simpson, I think his name is, he's good in the movie. He's really good, I think. And
Yeah.
he plays this kind of like aggressive alpha type, but he's 15 and she falls for it like
yeah.
hard. Like he's basically
Yeah.
negging her. And this 40-year-old woman is like lapping it
Absolutely
up from
buying
this
it.
15-year-old.
Yeah.
It's Sheba,
you're
Sheba,
right.
Sheba.
How so we'll get into like how it it played out, because that's kind of how the movie goes. Barbara immediately goes to Sheba and is just like,
She calls her over the phone.
Yeah.
And she immediately I love that shot of Judy. She's probably been up all night thinking about this, just sitting in her kitchen, just stone face. This is on her mind. and she doesn't know what to do. And just the look on Judy's face is so good.
I had actually forgotten that she confronts her about it immediately because I haven't seen this movie in like 10 years. I don't know if I ever watched it again. And I was like, oh, wow. The movie's only 90 minutes. I honestly, when I sat down to watch it, I just presumed
it moves fast, too.
Was 2+ hours just because I'm like, it's an Oscar movie with these two and I was like, oh, no, we are headed right to it. She wastes no time.
No time at all. And so she calls Sheba and she's like, I know what you
did. To you
did.
about Billy Connolly.
Yeah, Billy Connolly. Stephen Connolly.
Oh, not actor Billy Connolly.
Not the Scottish, comedian.
Not Scottish comedian Billy Connolly.
So they meet at a pub. Sheba's freaked out, starts recounting the story. And you're absolutely right, Paul. He is like the architect of this entire thing.
Yeah.
Like all this stuff about like, I want to draw and I need you to teach me. And like, it's all bullshit. It's all just like.
And as someone who recently watched all of A Teacher on Hulu, I have to say, I do not feel like this movie depicts grooming in any way because he really is the aggressor. That does. I'm not saying she is not still at fault. She is the adult. She should not have done it. But like he is. They very clearly position him as the aggressor in the affair.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so, you know, she's an art teacher. So he goes to her and says that, you know, he wants to, there's some reason why he can't be in her class. Well, it's just some plot reason.
Yeah.
So there's plot armor for him to not be in the class. And so it has to be a one-on-one after school situation. And when he shows her his drawings, his drawings,
and she's in one of the drawings,
and one of them is of her, that's when she's like, okay, I see you've got potential. I'll do it. Let's do it. And so they start having these one-on-one art classes. And they're getting closer and closer until she just like tussles his hair. Mm-hmm. And he's, you know, and he's got that like, do it again, miss.
That's good. Good impression.
Oh, thank you.
Do it again, miss.
And just calling her miss all the time. Like, oh my God. And, you know, Barbara's listening to it and she's just like incredulous. And, I mean, like Bill Nye is too, just like, and then you say no.
You just don't fuck the 15-year-old. Like, this next step is to not do what you then chose to do.
Yeah. I mean, although, like you said, he is very aggressive. He is following her home. Mm-hmm. He is showing up, you know, at shops that are on her route, you know, showing up at her grocery store, like all of this stuff that's very aggressive. And for her, she's just this, like, you know, I hesitate to, like, call, you know, be reductive and like call her like this flighty, you know, woman. But I mean, she's very much just like, oh, well, what do I do?
Well, it's like the movie tries to, I feel like they want us to see that she's just like kind of dissatisfied with her life. There's nothing wrong with her life, but they want us, I think they want us to feel sympathy for her. And because and it's like, well, okay, cool. Like I get, like, that's why I think they're putting all of that aggression on him. Because if it was her, then you're like, okay, now you just have two monsters, right? Like you have two complete monsters. So
villain.
They want to have like a wiggle room there, but I'm like, it just have an affair with another teacher, like just have an affair with an adult. Have an affair with someone who graduated last year.
Exactly.
It's
and the
so
thing
bad.
The thing about like, oh, well, her husband is so much older than her. And it's like, but he still loves her. He's not mean to her. He doesn't neglect her or step out on her.
Yeah.
He's just older.
I mean,
that's not that much of a...
If I was in the position, I would probably date Bill Nye.
Yeah,
he's charming.
Yeah, he's charming. He's like he seemed cool. He seemed like a cool, you know, partner.
And I mean, I'm pretty sure, given how time works, he's always been that much older than her.
Exactly.
He didn't change.
She knew going in how much older he was. So, you know, so Barbara kind of she was just like, okay, well, what, you know.
She assumes that she's going to turn her in.
Yes. And when Barbara actually says like, oh no, I'm not gonna turn you in. I'm here to help you.
She says, I could gain everything by doing nothing.
Oh, you poor thing. You got yourself into a state. I'm not going to report you. I want to help you, to support you through this.
You won't tell anyone?
Who would it benefit? Not you or the boy, and certainly not the school. No, this is a private matter. And we must keep it so.
Yes. Maybe I should resign.
Oh, no. No, that might alert suspicion. No, you must stay at the school, but the affair must end. Your solemn promise. I can't help you if you don't promise.
I promise.
She's so Iago, this character. Like this is a Shakespearean level villain of like a manipulator and domineering battle axe of like, and she will just lie in wait like a cat and then just pounce when the moment is right.
Yeah, absolutely. And just holding this information is just like, yeah, I mean, Sheba's in a weird place because she doesn't want it to get out or whatever, but it's like, what can you do? And so Barbara kind of, what's the weird kind of ultimatum that she gives Sheba about like the holidays? Like she kind of says like,
she kind of reasons with it that she doesn't want to destroy her life, and what's the point of doing anything because it's just going to harm this kid even more.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, she says, I think Sheba says, please don't tell anyone. Just let me have Christmas with my family. And that's when she says, I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm going to help you. And then she says, you have to break it off. You have to end it. And then kind of thinking, I think, in Barbara's head, like, once you end it, you're not going to be fucking that kid anymore. You don't want to fuck your husband. And then suddenly here's sweet old Barb who can be like, hey, have you ever, made a left when you thought you were going to make a right?
Let's stroke each other's arms.
Yes.
Oh, I'd love that scene.
Oh, man. So we get like the Christmas party scene. Is that coming up?
Yeah. In the Christmas party scene, you sort of get a glimpses into both of their Christmases. And Barbara, she goes to stay with her sister. And this is sort of when you get a little more glimpse into Barbara's past, that even her family doesn't really know what Barbara's deal is.
Yeah.
They assume that she maybe had a girlfriend,
and they seem
don't really
to be
know.
kind of open to it. They're like,
yes.
I'm very sorry that Jennifer isn't around anymore. Like, she seemed nice. Like, they don't seem to be judging her for her sexual proclivities.
Right. And then, but she's still very much like, don't worry about it. Like, she's not offering anything. She's just like, stop talking to me about it. I'm a private person.
Meanwhile, on Sheba's end, all of these rich white people are over at the house, and there's that mean woman that's talking about Sheba, and she's listening. Pretty much just saying how, like, just Sheba's just like she's had... What is that woman actually saying?
Wait, is that her mother?
I don't know who
it's
supposed
just a
to
family
be.
friend.
Oh, I
Maybe
thought it
Bill
was her
Nye's
mother.
sister.
Yeah.
I thought it was family, and it seemed like it was. I think she said something about having her family and his family. So I don't know if maybe it was a sister-in-law or
Okay. I wasn't sure
something.
watching it. I thought it was clearly like a relative but I remember they had said that she had loved her father. Her father died, and her mother was always awful. So I made that leap to being, but the actress looks kind of young to be Cate Blanchett's mother. So it's who knows?
Yeah,
maybe she's like an aunt.
Yeah. But she's just ripping on her, basically being like she's pretty but stupid. That's kind of the upswing of it.
She's used to being taken care of.
Yes,
and that's when she sort of dives back into the affair.
Yeah.
Well, she goes outside to take the trash out, and who should arrive but young Steven?
I got a present
with
for you,
Christmas
miss.
gift.
I got the necklace. It's real fake gold, miss.
Real fake gold. I love it.
And then she
who
makes
doesn't
out
love
with
shitty
him
jewelry?
right next to the steps of her house. This bitch wants to get caught. She
I'm
wants
telling
to
you.
get caught.
Driveway of your own house.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, she's ready to get caught. But obviously it hasn't ended. It's still going on. Barbara is becoming ever more and just inserting herself more and more into Sheba's life.
And the most important thing that's happening with Barb right now is that her cat is very ill.
Yes.
Portia. I had forgotten that there was cat death in this movie, and I was like, no, I can't emotionally handle this.
Poor Portia. She just shows up at the house distraught because Portia's been at the vet. She's been ill.
The most important third character of this movie.
Yeah. Portia, yes.
Yep.
But I love, so we get this scene where a distraught Barbara shows up, or she's in the kitchen with Sheba, and they're talking about it, and she's just like, oh, I'm being silly. It's just an animal, and Sheba's reassuring her and all that. But Cate Blanchett's playing it really well, because at the top of the scene, you don't know that, oh, she's got an appointment. And then the clock is ticking.
Has an engagement, as they say.
Yes. She's engaged. And
she has a hard out.
Yeah. But she's playing along at first. She's doing it well. But then as the conversation goes on, she's just like, oh, well, these things happen.
I'm outstaying my welcome. Yes, you are.
Yes, indeed.
And this is where we get the stroking line.
Yes.
Which is so good.
The arms, yeah.
When I was at school, if one of us had some bad news or was a bit down, we used to stroke each other. Someone would do one arm and someone else the other. It's a wonderful sensation.
I can't even with this. About her, her school chums, and that they would do this thing with each other to calm each other down. Scott, explain what
stroking your arm is sort of when you take your fingertips or your nails and you just put them right down your forearm.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm doing it right now. I've done it before.
To your own self.
To your own self, yeah.
Not
I would
to me,
never. I don't think I would ever do it to someone else.
But I guess she says that they would do it all of her school chums would do it, and then multiple people would get in on it. It
seems like a very what's that British show of stroking my pussy?
Are you being served?
Are you being served?
This
the
seems
old lady
like
from
it
that.
definitely transitioned into a little exploration.
Well,
school.
yeah, I would think so. It's giving me vibes of those massage trains that you see like kids do, like college age and teenage kids do, and you're just like, stop doing that.
Yeah, honestly, just fuck. Just fuck each other. Please stop doing that.
Totally. And she was just like, yeah, sounds great. I mean,
All right, lead.
Yeah.
And then Barbara sees someone jump over. She sees him jump over her garden wall.
Yeah, there's someone in your garden, and she was like, "Oh, it's the
Call
boy
the
next door." It's like, "No, he's going into your fuck cottage," and she's like, "No, it's just the boy next door." And then the phone buzzes, and Barbara grabs the phone and she reads a filthy text message. Filthy.
He calls her over the phone and she answers it.
No, yeah, it's a call.
Oh, right,
it's a call. This one's a call.
Yeah,
and he says like he's like thinking about her cunt.
Yeah. I know that word is different in British slang than it is in American slang, but I'm like, I don't think that's going to get you in many women's pants over here. That's not the way to go.
That is some dirty talk.
I mean, the entire movie of Atonement revolved around it, so
Yeah.
But so this is when Barbara realizes that she hasn't broken it off, which that was her one ultimatum, was break it off. And we get some Barbara, please.
Barbara, please. Please, Barbara.
Yeah.
Some pleading on Sheba's part. How does she get her out of the house? I forget. Because ultimately...
She chases after her, doesn't she? She leaves, and then... Because the line coming up is, she has nowhere to turn but trusty old Barb.
Trusty old Barb.
So I think she basically, if I remember correctly... Barbara is basically like, all right, you're going to keep doing this. We have to keep it quiet. And she's still like, I can keep waiting and still do nothing and still hopefully kind of sew this woman up completely.
Yeah. There you go. And yeah, you're right. She does chase her out at first, initially, because she's like, "Oh, maybe I'll tell your husband, whatever." She chases her out of the house, but
I feel like this is when the cat dies.
The cat's about to die, but first there's still a little time where the affair keeps going, and Barbara's like, just biding her time. Still holding this over Sheba's head.
Yes. And we get like a little bit like some like short montage scenes of the affair, and they have the spot, you know, and it's very much that meme of like Tops be like, I know a spot, and it's in between two trains and like a train yard, and they have their little picnic, you know, and it's just like, lady.
She's like swigging on a bottle of like Schlitz that he brought.
Yep.
I don't know if it's like the equivalent of whatever like some malt liquor is in England.
Mickey's. I think that's British. But yeah, it's just like, lady, get a room. Like literally.
Yeah,
literally.
please.
Well, they do have the
We could bring you down to the pub right now and find a strapping 20-year-old.
Also
that would probably be better in bed.
Yeah. It really is incredible when you're like, she seems to think he's good in bed. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah, no, he is.
No one is at that age.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's also the scene in the fuck cottage after they've just done it, and he's like traipsing around like bare ass naked, and they're shooting him like with this camera angle that's ever so like right below his belly button. And you're just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Cut away.
Please stop.
Please stop this.
So Portia dies, I think, right?
Oh my goodness! Yes,
Portia died, or she's going to be put down, and Barb
They're
rushes
at the vet,
to Sheba to ask for her support. But Sheba is about to drive her family, and her special needs son is going to be in a play at school, right? And Barb tries to insert herself into that dynamic.
The most intense scene of the movie of just like there's like the tension is ramped up. Both like Bill Nighy, Juno Temple are just like yelling at Sheba of like, you need to get in the fucking car because we need to go.
Someone has died. I know. It's terribly sad.
You owe me this.
Ben, can't you make a vanish? Use your wand or something.
He's doing a show for the first time in his life.
That's your choice, is it?
Why did you come? You'd be very welcome.
I thought you understood what friendship means.
It's my child. It's my son. He's just a little boy.
Don't play the good mother with me.
Excuse me, ladies. Could one of you tell me what's going on? Is this some kind of coven?
I can explain perfectly. Would you like me to?
It's just a bar's had some very bad news about her cat.
My condolences. Poor pussy. Now, can I have my wife back, please?
I don't like your tone.
Why is she always here? What kind of fucking spell has she cast on you?
Ben is getting really stressed. I think he's going to blow.
Oh, for God's sake, get the bloody car!
Give me a minute! Will you? I can handle this.
Oh, I'm to be handled, am I? Like toxic waste. You see me on sufferance, I'm an imposition to be tolerated.
No, of course not. I love our time together. I'm your good friend.
Then stay with me.
I would if I could. I'm desperately sorry about Portia, but you can see I have to go.
Yeah, it's one of those things where your politeness with another person that's like a non-family member or like a friend of your family member, where you're just like, all right, I'm not being cute anymore. It's like, you need to shut the hell up and let us leave. This confrontation on the street is crazy.
Barb does not
there's a lot
understand boundaries.
And there's a lot at stake for Sheba with this because if she doesn't give Barbara that attention, Barbara has a lot of power over her.
Well, that's the thing. It's like she didn't even need to get out of the car, but she kind of knew that she has to at this point because she's kind of like, she's got this information on her, so she needs to just be like, oh fuck. Every time I see her, it's got to be like, she's got to show that urgency. And Barbara's just like, well, why don't I just go tell him right now?
Barbara is this close to being
Somebody's
like,
died.
pick me, choose me, love me.
Yes.
Grey's Anatomy.
I love it though when she says
Somebody's died.
someone's died.
Someone's dead.
It's your cat. But ultimately, they leave her there. They fuck off to the play. They're like, Barbara
buries
deal
her
with
cat.
Yep.
Now, okay. Did she bury the cat in her own garden?
Sure,
I think
so.
Is that this scene?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
She puts the photo there and she buries him.
I wasn't sure if she was just burying, like, because we kind of skipped it, but Sheba gifts Barbara this fancy frame, like a silver frame with Portia's name engraved on it, and we see the frame in the ground with dirt going over it. So I was like, well, maybe she's just burying stuff that
I think she's
Sheba
burying
had
the
given
cat.
her, but you guys are probably right. She's probably burying the cat.
Oh, yeah.
So who comes knocking at Barbara's door?
Brian the teacher. Brian the plot device comes knocking on the door.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so
this character,
he's not
by Phil
important,
Davis.
but he's got a set of stones on him.
I mean, he just has zero tact, is what he's got.
This one has a lot going on. Do you? Okay, let's say that like I were to approach anyone for an affair.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Would you ever go to a coworker of just like, so do you know this person well? Do you think this person would be down to commit adultery with me?
Yeah,
Like zero chill.
zero chill. Like I have a wife. I know she has a husband.
Yeah.
But I really want to fuck her. Would you?
Yeah,
do you think
what?
she'd be cool?
I mean,
It's
I
so
guess
weird.
that older straight men are pretty dumb though, so I guess that this would happen.
I guess. Oh,
And Barbara, zero chill, is just like, well, you're not her type. She likes younger boys.
I love how evil Judy is in that scene as she's smoking the cigarette, covered in dirt
Yep.
after burying her cat. She just looks like the undead.
she does.
Yeah. And she straight up is just like, she likes younger men, surprisingly. Did she say surprisingly
Surprisingly
younger?
young, I think.
Surprisingly young, yeah. And all but like implies straight out that she's doing it with a student.
Yep.
Oh no, she says his name.
Yeah.
Yep.
She does. Yeah, she even says it. She's like, "Oh yeah, Stephen Connolly."
This is the
That
one
one.
and only mistake that Barb makes in the entire movie. She names the student, revealing her
Yeah.
own knowledge of the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I guess she fails to realize what will happen when it gets out, and it also gets out that she knew about it. Is
Yeah.
that's also a crime, like to just not say anything, you know?
Yeah, and she's also like she's lashing out because she has been denied her arm stroking.
Yeah. So immediately the next day, it's like the next day at school, right? Where,
No, we kind of find out when Sheba invites her over for dinner, and you see his mother come up.
Stephen's mother
Yeah.
barges into the house. So we find out that the parents know first before
Yes.
anything else. And that's it. You're right.
Mm-hmm. And probably less than a day has passed. This is
Yeah.
probably the following evening.
Right.
Kate Blanchett takes a slap like the boss you know she is.
Like a champ.
Like a
yeah.
champ, because that can you imagine being hired to be like, okay, you're going to come in, you're going to have one scene. Your scene
Yeah.
is you're going to haul off and you're going to slap the shit out of like Julianne Moore. You're going to call her a whore. You're going to scream in her face. You're going to pull her hair. That's your scene. Kudos to that actress. She went in.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, really good. Oh, and we forgot because Sheba does try to break it off with Stephen, and Stephen had told her this sob story about his dying mother in the hospital.
And his dad
and his
beats him.
Father would beat the hell out of him, and he lives in a council block, and he's just got this horrible life. So she goes to his home because Sheba also has zero chill. And is like, I need to speak to Stephen at once. And the father answers the door. And he's just like, oh, hi, you must be his teacher. Nice to meet you. Like, all nice. She goes inside. And it is a council, estate. It is, these council blocks, which are kind of like the projects in America, but not as bad, but just public housing, essentially. And so it is that. But when she gets inside, it's like nice inside.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. It's totally nice and normal inside. It's not like this shabby rundown house. The father is totally nice. And, she goes into his room. I love when the dad says, if you're going to go in Stephen's room, you better knock because you never know.
Because he's
be jerking off.
definitely playing a little 5-on-1 if the door is closed.
Yeah. So, they have this walk, and he's just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what are you doing?
And he's like, yeah, I told you a story because I wanted to fuck you, and look, it worked.
Yeah.
Because he's like a
Yeah,
15-year-old boy. And he's like,
He's like,
I've tried
totally
this on
worked.
every teacher under the age of 50 in the school, and you were the first one it worked on. But I mean,
everyone except Barb.
Yeah.
And he's just like, it worked. Both of us got something out of it. So if it's done, it's done, but it's not fun anymore. So
yeah.
how about we stop?
He breaks up with her. I cannot stress that enough. Stephen breaks up with Sheba.
Once she showed up, he was just like, all right, no, this is
stage
too
5
much.
clinger, dude.
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah.
Have a little self-respect.
Totally. So, so now we get the parents, the mother that, that was on death's door is here beating the hell out of
Kate Blanchett.
out of Sheba.
But this works out well for Barb because Barb
Yes.
thinks, Barb knows, okay, Sheba just thinks that Steven's broke and told his mother.
Yeah.
So she's
Yeah.
in the clear except for plot device Brian. That's the last loose end.
Right. Because now at the school they call in Barbara, the headmaster or whatever calls in Barbara. I'm assuming it's the headmaster because of, again, Hogwarts.
Yeah.
And you kind of get this headmaster finally has something that he can officially be rid of Barbara
Yeah.
with. Because doesn't he sort of just
He's just retired.
force her into,
Yeah.
into retirement?
Yeah. And she tries to fight back, and he's like, Jennifer Dodds has a restraining order against you because of your friendship. Like,
Yeah.
take the win. Get the fuck out.
Yeah. So we start getting like the real backstory about, about Jennifer and that she actually, she did issue a restraining order because Babs is clingy. Is this when she goes into the bathroom and throws up in the bathroom stall?
I think so. And there's the graffiti that says Babs Covet equals a nasty old lezo on the on the stall.
Yes.
Referring to this character as Babs is
Babs.
pure comedy.
And that is something that teenage high school students will do.
Absolutely.
Like to a teacher that they hate, just call her Babs. Oh my God. I love that. Babs Covet is a lezo. So now everybody's life is falling apart.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Sheba just has to just become roomies with Barb.
She asks Barb
has to
if
move
she can
in.
live, if she can live with her for a little while, and Barb said, as
Well-
long as you want.
As long as you want. So it's become a media circus. It is the teacher, having an affair with a student. He's underage. It's just all over the papers. We know British tabloids are crazy.
They go in pretty hard.
cuckoo.
Ask Meghan Markle.
Yep.
Yes. And so, they're following Sheba at her home. They've got the kids there. And so, I mean, I think, is it implied that Bill Nighy asks her to leave, or is it just of like a mutual decision?
They have a huge fight, and then he throws her out, basically, and that's when she has to
Yeah.
live with Barb. I mean, by the
Bill
way,
Nighy is
fair.
really good in that scene.
Yeah, fair on his part.
Totally fair. Yeah. Because he's fully just like, why couldn't you just find somebody?
Yeah.
18,
Why do you?
dude?
Yeah, have someone
Yeah.
who's have an affair with someone who's not a kid.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think the age of consent in the UK is actually like 16 or 17.
No, that I don't
So I
know.
think she just missed it.
Christine,
Yeah,
write in
I-
and let us know.
Exactly.
I mean, Barbara likes-
because you know what? I'm not going to Google it.
Sheba likes to live on the edge. You're going to definitely be put on a list.
Yeah, I'm
you
not.
Google
I'm
that.
not Googling age of consent in the UK. We'll just figure it out.
Yeah,
But so eventually she goes to stay with Barbara in her like old lady apartment.
She keeps finding all of these gold stars.
Well,
all
yes.
through the apartment.
What we've seen is that when Barbara has a good day,
A
she
gold
marks
star
it as
day.
a gold star day in her log
in her notes on a scandal.
and on the scandal.
Jeez, I mean, wouldn't it be such a good idea of like Night of a Thousand Judi Denches?
Oh, yeah.
to come out as Judy from Notes on a Scandal, and that's what you lip sync to.
Yeah. If you just do the like the monologues, the narration of her, I want every movie narrated by Judi Dench as Barbara Covet. But
I love it.
Finding Nemo narrated by Judi Dench as Barbara Covet.
As Barbara
yeah,
Covet.
like it's the most
Just shading everybody.
vicious cutting comments for everybody.
Yeah. I love when the one other teacher that's closer to Sheba's age, but she's a little heavier, so Barbara is just like, oh geez, this one.
Yeah.
And when she has her big announcement that she's pregnant, and Barbara's just like, you're pregnant. And she's just like, oh, well,
Yes.
yeah. She's so awful.
Yep.
But so Sheba's at this house. She's like, hiding inside. She doesn't go outside because all the press is out there screaming at Barbara.
Oh, I know what I want to discuss is Sheba's backstory of that she had this goth Susie and the Banshees like persona.
Oh, right.
I think that's actually super clever. Of that, this is just that character. This is the girl from like the early 90s that would dress up like Susie and the Banshees, and this is just sort of what became of her. I really like that. And when they're talking about the Susie and the Banshee album, when Steven picks it up and he's looking at it, and they're talking about Susie and the Banshees, and then you see the old photograph of her with the Susie Sue makeup. I just like that little character note.
Yeah. Well, because now she starts to return to it, right? She starts putting herself into it. I wrote like she's becoming Nancy Spungen. Like she's definitely and she's kind of dressing herself as like. I say this with great respect for all of our sex worker friends, but kind of intentionally making herself more sexual, kind of looking a bit whorish.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It's like she's having this weird regression, like, episode where, you know, she's stuck in this house with this woman and she's, you know, her life has become this crazy thing. And so, you know, she starts doing this like cat eye weird makeup situation and putting on these like fishnet stockings.
I think that she's sort of regressing to that age when she was 17 and she didn't have these type of problems.
Right.
Yeah.
That this was this character at that age.
Right.
You know, this was Cate Blanchett's favorite scene to film. She is acting silently her face off. Like, this is every actor's like dream. Like, oh, I get to just emote silently and like be so into myself.
Yeah. And so when she's, you know, she steps on the gold star, it gets stuck to the bottom of her heel. And what gives her the idea to start looking for
she goes into the
journal in the first
to the
place?
Garbage, and she finds a torn out page.
A page.
And she
That's
reads
what
it, and she's like, this bitch is writing about me. And she starts tearing the apartment apart looking for Barbara's journals.
So first she finds the journals, reads them, loses it. But then I think it's also implied that Barbara is writing like a manuscript or something, because she says something about like their personalities and things.
Well,
am I wrong? Did I miss something?
I think the way Barbara writes her journals is very novelistic. So like, So I wasn't sure if she was actually writing like a manuscript or if she just happens to like, because she's so separated from like humanity, it's like she narrates her own life like a book,
and she embellishes the other characters. And I think she was writing things about, you know, Bill Nighy and the daughter that she wouldn't have known, because I think Sheba calls her out on like, you don't even know the, you know. So I think in the journal there's a lot of padding to just her day-to-day situation, but she tears this house up.
She does. She's on the edge. Sheba is on the edge.
There are fallen mirrors and upturned coffee tables and couch cushions, and it's crazy. I love when Barbara leaves to go out and she's getting groceries and she comes back, and at this point
all of the reporters are taunting her.
Yes,
because they are just sort of observing of how ridiculous this situation is.
And they're making like weird homophobic comments to her and like, you know, calling her a lezo and all.
But you know how like Judi Dench plays it? She has just like this, she almost has a smile on her face. Like she likes the attention and she likes this drama she has brewed up.
Yeah. And she's the only one that has the exclusive access to Sheba. You know, I think she's the one, she's just like, okay. You have to go through me for everything now. So it's like she's exactly where she wants to be.
Barbara's definitely going to be booking Sheba for her Larry King appointment.
Yeah.
You have to go through Barbara.
Yeah. I mean, when she does get into the house and sees the mess that Sheba's made, this is when we get the big scene.
This is the big throwdown. I love when Judy, I think that she said, like, Barbara, I could get 8 years or something, or like 4 years, and Barbara's just like, they'll fly by.
I'll visit you every week.
They'll fly by.
But she walks in and Cate Blanchett, I mean, rips into her. She's in a Eugene O'Neill drama. She is all the way in.
Oh my god!
Like starts screaming at her. You don't even like me. Everyone else hated you, but no one told me you were a fucking vampire.
fucking mad. You don't know how to love. You've never your whole life. Me, Jennifer Dodd, you're nothing but waste and disappointment. You bitter old virgin. You're only for a reason. They loathed you at school, all of them. I was the idiot who bothered, but only because no one told me you're a fucking vampire. So what is it, Ma? You want to roll around the floor like lovers? You want to fuck me, Barbara?
Please don't diminish our...
What? What?
No, give it back. I know you. Selfish and vain, you think you have a divine right. You don't belong in the world, you belong here.
Fucking vampire.
This monologue,
sorry for you.
is so amazing of how Kate delivers it. And this is one of the parts of the movie that you're just like, this shit is camp gold.
Yeah.
It's so good. And it's the type of camp that is so good because Kate's not delivering it that way.
No.
Like, Kate is in the moment.
Yeah.
That, like, she is, like, acting.
Yeah.
Do you want to fuck me, Barbara?
Do you want to fuck me, Barbara? There's also
And she's just hitting her with the journal, like smacking her with.
we need a whole genre of movie that's just Oscar-winning actresses smacking each other. Julianne Moore smacks Helen Mirren. Tatum O'Neal slaps Mira Sorvino. Meryl Streep somehow slaps herself. I don't know. Everyone slaps Marion Cotillard. Like that should just be the whole movie.
I love it. Supercut.
Yeah.
We'll work on it. It's an intense scene.
I wonder how many times they had to shoot this scene.
I don't know. Probably not very many.
I remember
because they're
reading
on top of each other.
an interview with Kate where they talked about this scene, and she says that after the first take, they had to break open a bottle of champagne and have a moment and just have a glass of champagne just because that moment was so crazy.
Yeah.
And then they had to go back and do it again.
There's also one other thing in this scene that I love. I don't remember the name of the place, but it's kind of after everything has calmed down, and Barbara's like, "You invited me to visit you in France," and Kate Blanchett just puts her head in her hand, and she's like, "We didn't mean it." She's like, "You distinctly said if I was around, I should stop by." And Kate Blanchett, "We didn't mean it." She's like, "Then I won't go then."
That exchange,
Pete
I
laughed
laughed so hard. Well, then I won't go then.
So funny.
The Dodoin in France.
The Dodoin, that's what it was.
We didn't mean it. Well, then I won't go.
Oh my gosh. They need to just do this on RuPaul's Drag Race for a Rusical.
I am amazed that they don't have...
They need to do a big lip sync of this number.
Yeah, that they haven't parodied this. And one of their... I mean, they would ruin it if they parodied it. Like those...
And especially how Kate Blanchett goes out to the press of
when she walks out the door,
the big crescendo of the scene.
Here I am, and just that Kate Blanchett wail, that deep voice. I love it. And then so she goes outside and she's like, "Here I am," just screaming at everybody, and they're all just like, "All right." Mm-hmm. And then who comes out? Barbara comes out and just ushers her back inside, and saves her.
Yeah.
After all that. What
she does
the
it.
Fuck? Yeah. Oh my goodness!
So we cut ahead a little bit, right? And we see that that's the end of it, right? Am I cutting too fast?
Yeah. No, that's it.
Yeah. So we cut ahead a little bit, and we see Sheba go back to her husband, who kind of smiles and takes her back. It's bold.
It is. I mean, yeah, it is, but. We just kind of get in just images, newspaper images. Yeah. The outcome, right? The outcome is that Sheba gets 10 months,
which seems. I mean,
she'll be out in 4.
It'll fly by.
Seems a little light. I don't know if this movie grapples enough with the statutory rape of a 15-year-old.
Right.
It definitely is brushing under the rug of he's fine.
Right. I mean, it's another one of those things that it's that the person who's underage is a male and she's a female, and it's somehow societally that's like less of a crime
Yeah.
or less traumatic for him.
That said, but it's more of a media sensation though.
Right.
Those are the type of headlines that you'll see on your People magazine app on your iPhone.
Yeah, because people don't feel bad. They can
It's
just
more
enjoy
sensationalized.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more sensationalized as a scandal than a crime.
Yeah, totally.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's kind of what what's going on here.
And it's like, she's beautiful, she's white, she's rich, she'll be fine.
Yeah. Yep.
But is that kind of just where we end with Sheba on her little special park bench?
Yeah.
Not Sheba, Barb.
I'm sorry, not Sheba. Yeah, Barb.
And it's kind of set up earlier in the movie when Barb brings Sheba to this bench that this is where she would bring Jennifer Dodd.
Yep.
This was their special place with Jennifer. That it's just this park bench, overlooking this, the city or town or whatever. And she goes to the park bench, and there's a very Cate Blanchett-esque woman,
Played by Anne-Marie Duff, great British actress.
Oh, that's Anne-Marie Duff? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh. I love Anne-Marie Duff.
Yeah.
I recognized her face, but I wasn't sure from what. What may we remember her
I mean,
from?
I remember Anne-Marie Duff in Nowhere Boy, that John Lennon movie, which I don't think that you've seen. But
No.
she's just sort of a character actress from England.
She was Fiona
Sure.
in the British Shameless. If you ever watched
Okay,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
she was in that HBO adaptation of his Dark Materials.
Okay, sure. We didn't get past the first
That's
episode.
fair. It wasn't great.
Oh, she's Maeve's mom in Sex Education.
Yes.
That's why I know her. Yeah, that's why I know her. There you go. And she just immediately, right off the bat, Barbara sits down and just kind of.
And you're just like, here we go again.
She has learned nothing.
But we get a callback to an earlier scene where they were having a lunch, Barbara, Sheba, and another teacher, and Sheba took a drink of her tea or coffee and got some foam on her mouth, and Barbara kind of very discreetly told her to wipe it away. And
this intimate shared moment.
yeah, and the same thing happens with with this new woman, and she's just like, kind of smiles and has her wipe her nose, and she's reading the newspaper that has the article about
Yeah.
Sheba, and she's like, "Oh, well, I knew her."
She is. Oh, what a fucking great character, though. Like,
So good.
she must have had so much fun just being mean to everyone around her.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that actresses Judy's age, I mean, roles like this are hard to come by
Yeah.
for older actresses.
Yeah.
And this is not the type of role that old ladies usually play in movies.
Yeah.
That you usually just don't play a complicated bitch like she is in this movie.
How do you feel? Do you end the movie with any sympathy for Barb?
I think so.
Yeah, I think I actually feel like she's a horrid person. But like, they have a scene in there where she's alone in the bathtub and she's talking about
Yes.
loneliness, and she's like,
I have that scene written down on my notes.
Yeah.
What it's like to construct an entire weekend around a visit to the laundromat.
yeah, what it's like to have not been touched in so long. That like it's. She's such a good actress that you can be like, this woman is purely evil for the most majority,
Yeah.
but like she shows you why, and so you can't help but have like a little sympathy, because we've all been like, oh, I felt lonely before, but I've never constructed a whole weekend around the visit to the laundromat as my big excuse to like go see people and have interactions and stuff. Until this pandemic, now we all very deeply
Right.
understand what that's like.
Right.
To be to be accidentally brushed by the bus conductor's hand sets a jolt of longing straight to your groin.
Yeah. Whoo boy.
We should talk a little bit about the way that the novel ends and how it differs
Right.
from
Yeah,
this
so
movie.
this is so funny. I read the novel and I do not remember how it ends.
So apparently, I read the synopsis of the novel, and apparently it ends with like Sheba kind of like giving up and becoming Barb's like plaything. Like she is
So-
completely sewn up and undone by this woman. Is like, I can't fight anymore. She's got me.
I must have blocked this ending out of the book.
Yeah, so it says she, being Sheba, eventually reconciles with Barbara due to their shared desperation and loneliness, as both have now lost everything. Even now, Barbara uses their desperate circumstances as yet another opportunity to further their relationship, as the mentally weakened Sheba can do little to resist. The novel ends with Sheba trapped and demoralized, resigning to Barbara's dominance.
Wow.
I love farce.
That's dark.
Yeah.
It is dark, and I understand why they didn't do that in the movie, but that is kind of a better ending.
Yeah.
I think if they had done that, it could have gone like really full camp. It would have gone so deep into camp. They're probably like, that's like a literary ending. I don't know if we can do it in a movie, but yeah.
That's when it really turns into whatever happened to Baby
Yeah.
whatever happened to Baby JJ.
JJ. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, this movie is, on the surface, it's this high drama, but yeah, when you really break it down, there are these extremely campy moments, of these two women just kind of going at it, and yeah,
High melodrama.
It is really worth watching. It's an hour and a half, and if you like, you will get to laugh and like be shocked. What more do you want?
Scandalized.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love all the performances are really.
Both were Oscar nominated.
Great. Yeah.
Judi Dench lost to Helen Mirren for The Queen, and Kate Blanchett lost to Jennifer Hudson for Dreamgirls.
Both bad choices.
So in case you're following along at home, Judi Dench was nominated for Best Actress,
Yes.
and Kate Blanchett was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for the roles. In Notes on a Scandal.
I mean, personally, I would be voting for Judy because I think this is her best role. This is probably the performance that I would vote for, but we kind of forget that Helen Mirren had a big moment around the time The Queen came out.
Yeah.
That, like, she was
having
kind
a
of
moment.
like, she's like the hot 60-year-old that still has it.
Yeah.
That was sort of like her Oscar narrative when she won for The Queen.
Yeah, I'm more okay with that one. The Jennifer Hudson Dreamgirls win always just sticks in my craw. Like, I love Jennifer Hudson; she's great, but she's not a great actress. She won for singing a song.
I kind of
it is
agree.
weird.
Like, I'm all about the win for like representation matters.
Absolutely.
Like, I think that's cool that this kind of pluck from obscurity singer turned actress was rewarded with the Oscar. But I'm not super crazy about Dreamgirls.
It's not a great movie.
I didn't really like it at the time
Yeah.
that it came out. I've always thought that it read very VH1, like a hip opera.
Yeah,
Towards like the later half of the movie.
Very
that
Ebony
just
Scrooge.
sort of loses steam. Yeah.
Oh yes, Ebony Scrooge.
A Diva's
we gotta
Christmas
rewatch
Carol.
that.
Weren't you guys supposed to be doing a Divas Christmas Carol on your show?
We were supposed to do it, and honestly, the reason that we didn't was because I was like, I didn't realize when we had chosen and watched it, it's so low budget.
Yeah,
That I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I feel like a lot of the stuff that we kind of talk about would be like,
it's too easy.
it's too
yeah.
it felt like low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? Like, I love Jennifer Williams, Vanessa Williams, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is just a little thing that needs to be left alone and allowed to be what
Yeah.
it is, kind of. So
Yeah,
we didn't
yeah.
do it.
That makes sense.
There's always next Christmas,
There
though.
is. Maybe my mind will change.
Yeah,
I actually think Kathy Griffin's really funny in that movie because you can just tell Kathy Griffin was throwing out those zingers
Yep.
because she was not probably all that satisfied with the material that that like she was given.
I enjoyed it. I actually really liked it. I was just like, I felt bad being like taking the piss out of it because I was like, it just feels like
Yeah.
I'm punching down.
Totally. But this movie, on the other hand, is very high budge. Everybody's great in it. I think it holds up as far as it doesn't feel super dated, really. As far as like,
No, not really. I mean, it's also I talk about this a lot on the show, but it's the type of adult drama that has trouble getting made now. Just like now, when everything has to appeal to such a wide
everybody.
viewership,
The kind of
that
mid-budget.
movies like this. I mean, movies like this, you would probably see this movie now. This would be like a limited series on like Netflix.
Yeah.
of like 5 episodes, which I mean I would watch.
Oh, yeah.
But it's nice that this was made by a major studio as a movie, and it was run with this huge Oscar campaign.
Yeah.
And was pretty successful.
Yeah.
Like if they were doing the 8 to 10 Best Picture nominees around 2006, this probably would have made the cut.
I would think so.
Oh, were they still only doing
They were
like
still just
5
doing
or whatever?
5. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Well, yeah, we definitely recommend watching this if you haven't seen it already.
And I mean, I can't stress enough that I feel like this needs to be cemented even more as a camp classic and just talked about even more and quoted by gay men.
Yeah.
That like I want to see like a theater showing where they show Notes on a Scandal and people like get up and like act out the big fight scene.
Yeah, like this could do midnight showings. This really could sustain midnight showings. This could like they could do a stage adaptation of it that would be like with drag queens. It could be fucking insane. Like it'd be
Peaches Christ needs to do this as as like a movie parody.
We'll get Do You Want to Fuck Me, Barbara on a t-shirt.
Do you want to fuck me, Barbara? I just want to say, just for the record, my last note on my whole page of notes is, Jesus Christ, I just remembered Judi Dench was in Cats, which isn't really
How
relevant.
could we forget?
But
I like to erase that from my memory. We've talked about Cats too many times on the show that it doesn't need to come up again.
Yeah, I mean, what a weird casting.
oh,
What weird that was,
yeah.
I mean, we have to appreciate Judi Dench while we have her. I mean, she has maybe like a good 10 years left of making movies.
Yeah.
So you're ready to put her in the home?
Ready to retire.
Well, do you remember that whole story of that she was going blind?
I do remember
Probably
that.
about like 4 years ago, and I feel like, I don't know, I guess that just went away.
Yeah. I know, because she's still kicking, right? Like, I mean, I
snapped.
Like, I mean, look, in Cats, did you see that extension? She could,
I mean, that leg, that was
she's more
points.
flexible than me.
Yeah. And that was 100% her.
Yeah, absolutely. No body doubles in Cats, famously.
No, not at all. Famously, as everyone knows. Oh, my goodness. This has been so much fun.
It was fun. Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me an excuse to watch this movie again.
I'm glad that we
Yeah.
finally got to it, because it's been one of those movies that I've had this movie on my mind to do on this show for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely glad that we were able to cover it and glad to have you on.
Thank you.
Why don't you talk a little bit for those who are not yet aware about your show and where people can find That Aged Well?
Oh, yeah. So I and my friend Erica do a show called That Aged Well. We watch movies and TV from the 80s and 90s, and we talk about how it aged. So is it super sexist? Is it super racist? Is it super homophobic? Is it super transphobic? All of that stuff. But with smiles on our faces and a song in our hearts. So it's not just strident complaints about... Because pretty much all movies from the 80s and 90s are all of those things at some level.
Oh, yeah.
But we try to make it fun, and we're not trying to make you feel bad for loving the movies. We're trying to just make you love them with your eyes open. That's it. So our show drops on Mondays. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. Pretty easy to find if you search for That Aged Well.
Well, would our rating from That Aged Well be for Notes on a Scandal?
Well,
Like-
super white.
Yeah.
There's not really
Yes.
any diversity in it.
And when there is diversity, it's like the black kid
Yeah.
getting in a fight.
True. There is some diversity in the sense that she has a special needs kid, which you see very rarely, and it is being played
Actually
by an
played
actual
by a special needs
person,
actor.
which
Yeah.
we very much appreciate. Great female roles, good gay roles. They definitely lean into like the gay villain trope, but when it's this delicious, I'm kind of okay with it. I'm going to let it go. If the gay villain is the actual lead of the movie, I'm kind of going to be cool with it. And like I said, I wind up
Right.
with sympathy for her, and so I would give this a pretty high score. I would ding it hard for the lack of racial diversity, only because it was made in 2006. Come on
Right.
now.
Yeah.
But there are basically 4 characters in it, so like, all right. It's not like there's a huge number of people. I would give it like a 7. A 7 out of 10. Do you want to fuck
Gold
me,
star.
Barbara?
I was going to say like gold stars, but that's a little easy. It should be, do you want to fuck me, Barbara?
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much again for coming on the show, Paul.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Yeah, definitely. Until next time, we bid you adieu.
See you later.
Bye.
See you later. Bye. And thank you so much for listening, everybody.
Fun episode.
Yeah, definitely. I hope you enjoyed it. We love Notes on a Scandal. We love that aged well. Go check them out.
I think it's on Prime.
Oh, Notes on a Scandal's on Prime?
Yes.
Fun. Okay. Cool. You know, we should tell our listeners, we use this app. It's called Just Watch. This is not an ad. We're not
I
sponsored
use
at
this
all.
app every day.
Yeah, Just Watch. It's a really cool app. It's also a website. I think you just go to justwatch.com. And what you do is you put in the name of the movie, and it will tell you what streaming service, if any, it's currently playing on. And it's updated really
They're really
often.
good at updating it.
So if you just put in, whatever, you're just like, The Fan that we just did. Unfortunately, it's not streaming for free anywhere, but it can tell you where it's available for rent and for how much. And so we use that a lot. If you can't find anything that we
I'm
are
seeing Notes on
currently
a
doing.
Scandal is currently on Prime.
Awesome. So you guys can listen. You can watch it for free.
I usually try to when we announce the movies to put it on our story of where it's streaming.
Yeah, exactly. So you can find it and have a good watch before you check out the episode. So yeah, y'all can go check out the movie. Well, I think it's about that time for some shout-outs.
Yay, Patreon shout-outs.
Patreon shout-outs. Well, we would just like to say a big hello to Rufino, Christine. Hi, Christine.
Right into the episode and see if we totally got British public school right or wrong.
Absolutely
I'm
wrong.
curious to hear.
I'll tell you right now. So, hi, Christine. Hi, Nick, John, Jessica, Melinda, and Jim, Aaron, Josh, Dawn, Genevieve, Jimmy, Drew, Jamie, and Paul. Thank you for being a friend.
Yay.
Yay. If you would like some additional content, head over to patreon.com/movies that made us gay.
Our new Watch With Us just came out. What did we just end up
We
doing?
watched Can't Hardly Wait.
We watched Can't Hardly Wait.
Yes, indeed. If you are a $10 patron, you can have access to our Watch With Us commentary tracks.
We're going to be recording another one. We're going to do a few this month, too.
Yeah. We just did Can't Hardly Wait. So when you hear the third tone on the commentary track, press play on Netflix, because Can't Hardly Wait is on Netflix, and you will sync up with our track, and you can hear us
can watch
babble
with
on
us.
about the movie. Watch with us. So that's a lot of fun. Check out patreon.com/movies that made us gay. We're also on Instagram and Facebook at Movies That Made Us Gay, and we are on Twitter
At MTMUG Pod.
Yes, indeed. You can find me, Pete, on Instagram and Twitter at Peter Lasagna.
I'm Oscar Scott on Twitter and Scott Youngballer on Instagram and just Scott Youngbauer on Letterboxd. If you want to see what I'm watching.
Yes, indeed. I still haven't started a letterbox.
It's handy. You
I'll
should
start
download
eventually.
it.
I will. I'll do it today. Thanks for listening, everybody. Until next week. Bye.
Bye.